The content in this magazine could contain references of topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering. Please honor yourself, inner knowing, and proceed with whatever help or guidance you feel is intuitively aligned. Welcome to Sovereign Magazine Podcast. I'm Nicole George, CEO and founder of Sovereign. I'm so happy you are here. We are the magazine podcast and community guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves. From heart-led conversations to magical meditations, our inspiring guests will show you how they can help you step into your sovereign self. Are you ready to listen to your inner voice and step into your power? Then keep listening to hear all of the intuitive messages meant for you today. Today, I have the privilege of reconnecting with Danielle Spartz, one of our amazing contributors. She is a life coach, loving wife, and mother of 5 who is passionate about supporting women in nourishing their whole selves, mind, body, and soul. Her work blends many modalities such as life coaching, Reiki, EFT, somatic practices, and more. And she is here to help mothers reconnect with who they are beneath the noise, guiding them towards healing, empowerment, and alignment. Welcome back, Danielle.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. And I'm really excited about what we're talking about today because we're going to be exploring being who you truly are, which is our October new moon issue. And in your article, Living in Alignment, Your True Self, you talk about the importance of practicing what you preach and embodying your values in daily life. That the authenticity isn't about perfection, but more about courage, the courage to live in a way where your actions, your words, your choices truly reflect who you are on the inside. And you go into how when we live in alignment and show up in our authenticity, that our bodies and our emotions and our relationships begin to shift in more new ways, if you will. I don't want to say better, but because I don't like labeling things good or bad, but in more aligned ways. And you're able to pause and receive and take aligned action and be more gentle with that new authenticity. So for those who haven't read your article yet, why don't you tell them about it from your perspective?
Yeah, so I love the way you put it. It kind of becomes new again, right? And so you get this deeper meaning, this deeper alignment, not only with yourself, but with the relationships that you allow to come into your life at that point, or even some of the relationships that you've had previously, they do become new because you're starting to really understand your own self better, and there's no limitations to what you're able to put on yourself. And I think that that's such a really beautiful concept, is so many of us live with limitations and we don't actually realize it until we start to take a few seconds, a few moments, and really pay attention to it. And this is what's really powerful about living in your true self, because those limitations are no longer there. You have boundaries, which is different than what you are limiting yourself to. And so it's a really beautiful freedom, if you will, to just show up and just be and lay it all out, not worrying about what you're saying, who you're saying it to, in the ways that you're saying it, because everything is coming from a place that is aligned with your soul and what you're going to project to the world, right? And so it's just this really beautiful liberation.
Yes, I love this liberation. And so I used to call it walking on eggshells when I didn't
Yes.
live in my authenticity.
Right.
Now I love to call it, some people might really not appreciate this, but basically I was living 2 lives.
Yeah.
So before I used to say walking on eggshells, I can't be myself, but really I was living 2 lives because I had my authentic self and the people who I could be truthful with, right? And then I had those that I had to walk on eggshells around. So really I was living into 2 different spaces. Are you ready to be part of the movement of guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves? Are you a woman who trusts her inner voice and is stepping into her power? Then subscribe to Sovereign Magazine, podcast, and community, where you can become part of our global community because your journey to empowerment starts here. I'm really excited about our steps to our sovereign self today because we're going to be taking women, maybe even some men who listen to our podcast too, because we've had quite a few men join as well recently. But we're going to be going through some journal prompts and some journal questions to help us really live in alignment, to help us be our truest self and not live that double life, not live with that mask on, right?
Right, yes.
And so if I'm your guinea pig today, where would I start? If, previously I said I was walking on eggshells and now I recognize I was living two lives, where would I start? What would be my first journal prompt?
Yeah, so I absolutely love the way you put that because I feel like that is so relatable to so many of us. I feel like at some point we have all been in that eggshell type situation. And so, what is really coming up here is we want to try to get to the origin of that. We want to try to get to as close we can to the first scenario where this happened in your life. And so, a great question to start is, when did I feel like I had to start living this double life, walking on eggshells, if you will? So, if you can think back to, where did this begin for me? Like, what is my first memory that I remember where I was put in the situation where I was like, oh, I can't actually be who I want to be. So, I want you to think back to, and ask yourself, when did this begin? What was the situation where I felt like this double life was needed?
Mm. Now that you're asking me that question, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was living a double life. So a lot of my memories as a young child are very clouded because I've obviously suppressed a lot of it. And I'm very open about my situation. So anybody can ask me any question. I do try to give some people privacy just for respect I haven't asked them, but my brother had a really troubled childhood and I'll just kind of leave that there. So I remember having to mask myself, like, little kids act out. Little kids want to be naughty. They want to push the barrier. They want to test the boundaries. But I remember having to be the good kid. And actually, the funny thing is I just told him about a couple of months ago, I'm tired of being the good kid. Tag, you're it. I'm going to be the rebel.
Oh, yeah, I love it. That mask is coming off, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that, and I think for a lot of us, if we were to look back to it, it would most likely be a childhood scenario because, at one point, if you were to ask your childhood self, so like little Nicole, what was the original purpose? Like, for what purpose did it serve you to put the mask on in the first place, to be, as you put it, the good child?
Well, he was unfortunately getting in trouble so much. I saw that angry side of my parents, and I did not want to be the other end of their anger, right? So they've already got this challenging situation over here. So I decided I'm going to stay away from that. I was kind of learning from watching what was going on, and I didn't like to get in trouble. So if I kind of stayed quiet, put my mask on, did what I was told, then I kind of stood out, got out of their way because they were already in a heightened, stressful situation. So if I added to it, I probably would have got it even more.
Yeah, and I feel again like that is so relatable. So the next thing that I would ask you to piece on is, what would be the worst part about being in trouble? What would be the worst part of being on the angry end of that?
Yeah, it's that goes to that people pleasing thing for me because then there was the guilt and the shame and the blame and what did I do wrong and all of these questions. And It went so far, like, I felt like I could never quite do right, even though I was trying my hardest, I never could please, but now as an adult, I know it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me getting those straight A's or being perfect or getting I remember my dad, I worked really hard on this one test, and I brought him the test, and it was 100%, and he said, "Well, why not 102? Was there not an opportunity for extra credit?" Right? And this was like something I had worked so hard on. And it was a joke for him, but for me, it was long lasting, right? Never getting that stamp of approval. And so now as an adult, I recognize, well, those were his issues.
Right.
I didn't have to receive it in that way. But as a kid, you do. You want your parents to tell you you do a good job. And especially if you're not getting a lot of attention because somebody else is taking all of the attention. But you don't know that. So for me, I was seeking love. I was seeking attention. I was seeking, that people pleasing, that atta girl, good job type of thing.
Yeah, that validation. And what I feel like sometimes when we really come down to the root of it and what the questions might help you find at the bottom is that safety, right? You were looking for that security as a child. And for a lot of people, they kind of keep that with them because like you said as a child, you don't really recognize that. But as an adult, you do. But it takes a little while to get from that young child to this adult who now can realize and rationalize and all these things. So looking at what scenario was this in the first place that brought this need for the two masks for me? And then really understanding the purpose of what drove your subconscious mind there is really important. And then you get to the point of why would it serve me more to release this, to let that mask fly off and no longer keep it around, you know? And that's when you can start to dive into the healing of that and that's when you can, open up the door to become your authentic self and be fully liberated because then you just stand in who you are truly, and you don't have to wear both masks anymore. And a lot of times it boils down to safety for everybody because we're human beings. We want to be accepted. We want to belong, right? Like we need community to thrive and survive. That's how we're built. And so for a lot of us, that is tried at any time, we're going to do what it takes. But what a lot of us don't realize is that what we're giving up for that, sense, that false sense of safety and security is our own self. And so being able to get to the root cause of it. So, where did this first start for me? What was the purpose of the mask, the hiding in the first place? And then what purpose does it serve me now to keep it? Does it still serve you the same purpose or is it actually for your betterment now to let it go?
Yeah, I really want to touch on this safety aspect because once I realized that a couple of things. Number one, my happiness and my safety live within me. And nobody can take that away from me. I can make choices at any time to fix those things, meaning I didn't feel safe at jobs, so I left, or I've always felt safe in my marriage and so I haven't had a need to leave there, but I didn't feel safe in some of my familial relationships and I had
Right.
to let those go.
Yep.
And so once I created a world around me that did give me that sense of safety of me being able to be 100% who I am all the time and never, ever, ever be afraid of a word I would use or show up in a certain way. That when you said safety, like my body immediately relaxed because
Yes.
that's exactly what those journal prompts led me up to was safety, right? In all moments that I can look back on, I just wanted to be that safe little girl who was hugged, and I had to provide that for myself.
Right. And you're so beautiful, so powerful, so strong. And I just love that, you got there for yourself and what a true testament of this work that we do. Like there are so many things that you can walk through and still have such a beautiful life because you choose. It's all within you, like you said. I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
it's never, ever too late. I'm
No.
45, everyone. I didn't even know this world existed until I was 40 and I started doing massive work on myself.
And now look, I mean, it's this magazine and it's worldwide. Like this connection is beautiful and it's deep and it is powerful. And so, this is why I love this work, coming down to the root of it, coming down to the end of it to heal, liberated, be unmasked.
Yes, and this is why I love meeting with women like you. We get to uplift you and all the beautiful work you're doing around the globe to help men, women, people, children break those generational ties and patterns to the healing. And we get to give that gift to the people below us, right? Or the people next to us who are in our world and impacted by that. So if you are looking for Danielle, you can go to community.sovereign-magazine.com. All of her details are going to be in the show notes of how to reach her on socials. And guess what? She's coming back for more. So stay
Yay!
tuned, stick around. I'm so delighted to have you here. And thank you for approaching this subject with me today.
Yeah, thank you so much, as always, for the opportunity to be on your platform and all of the goodness that you bring to this world. I'm just truly so grateful for you and for the opportunity to be here today, Nicole. Thank you so much.
I feel the same. Mutual love, mutual love. All right, sending love. See you on the next one. Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with another soul-led entrepreneur here to help you step into your sovereign self. Subscribe to our magazine and podcast and join our global community for all the magic. Details to connect with today's guest or join the movement are in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. It helps us reach our goal of guiding 5 million women to self-sovereignty.